Have you ever had that feeling, that profound sense of awe, where you feel connected to something bigger? It's a feeling we all know. But what if it's not just a feeling? What if it's actually a form of recognition? Your brain literally decoding a hidden pattern in the universe itself. Let's dig in and see if we can unlock this sacred pattern together. I mean, really think about it. What on earth connects the wild, branching chaos of a forest to the perfect, intricate geometry of a cathedral window, and then to the hypnotic drone of a monastic chant? On the surface, they have nothing in common, and yet they can all give us that exact same deep, profound feeling of reverence. So what's the secret they all share? Okay, so our first clue in solving this mystery is a hidden visual code. It's a pattern that artists and spiritual traditions have been using for thousands of years, way before mathematicians even had a name for it. And that pattern has a name. It's called a fractal. A fractal is simply a design that repeats itself over and over at different sizes. You know, like how a big branch on a tree looks kind of like the whole tree, and then a little twig on that branch also looks like the whole tree? Once you know what you're looking for, you start seeing them absolutely everywhere in nature. And this is where it gets really incredible. Look at this overlap. For millennia, without any knowledge of the math, humans have intuitively woven these same natural fractal patterns into their most sacred art. From the hypnotic, recursive designs in Hindu mandalas to the repeating motifs in Islamic tilework, it's the same signature pattern. And it gets even more specific. Scientists have actually discovered that there's a kind of sweet spot of fractal complexity. It's a dimension, a measure of roughness, right between 1.3 and 1.5. This middle-range complexity is super common in natural scenery, and it just so happens to be the one our brains find the most beautiful and calming. It's just complex enough to keep us interested, but just predictable enough to feel soothing. And this isn't just some vague, feel-good idea. Get this. It has a measurable physical effect on us. Studies have shown that when people look at these sweet spot fractals, their stress levels can drop by up to 60%. That's a huge deal. Our bodies are physically responding to this visual code. So that's our first big clue. But what about sound? Well, it turns out this pattern isn't just something we see. There's an auditory version too, a sonic code that, surprise, surprise, shows up all over nature and in our most sacred music. It's called 1/f pink noise, but a much better way to think of it is as the Goldilocks of sound. You know, it's not totally random and chaotic like TV static, but it's not super predictable and boring like a low hum either. It's that perfect balance of surprise and pattern that our brains are just wired to enjoy. It's just right. And just like with fractals, we find this pink noise signature all over the place. It's in the sound of a flowing river, in the rhythm of our own heartbeats. And amazingly, it's also the exact acoustic profile of sacred music from traditions all across the globe, from Gregorian chants in Europe to Buddhist mantras in Asia. Yeah, a massive study of chants from different cultures found they almost all share these same traits. They're slow, they're steady, they're drone-like. They don't have a lot of sudden changes. They just kind of hover on these central tones. It's like these features were engineered, consciously or not, to put us into a state of calm, focus, and maybe even a trance. So let's recap. We have two really powerful clues. We have a visual code, fractals, and we have an auditory code, pink noise. Both are all over nature, both are used in sacred contexts, and both have this deep, calming effect on us. So what's the fundamental connection? What ties these two things together? This brings us to a really elegant and powerful theory that connects all the dots. It's called the resonance hypothesis. The crucial link, the big idea, is that these aren't two different codes at all. They're just two expressions of the same exact underlying principle, something called scale invariance. In other words, they both have that self-repeating quality, a pattern that looks or sounds the same at different scales. And this, it turns out, is a fundamental pattern of our entire universe. This whole idea is at the heart of something called the Pantheist Aesthetic Hypothesis. It proposes that our feelings of the sacred, of awe, aren't just random emotions. They emerge from a resonance with scale-invariant patterns in the environment. We're literally vibrating on the same frequency. So, to put it simply, that feeling of awe is a moment of deep recognition. It's your perceptual system which, remember, evolved in this fractal universe, recognizing its own home. It's your brain basically saying, I know this pattern.
This is the signature of the cosmos. This is familiar. Okay, so let's just sit with that for a second. If this is true, if awe is really our minds resonating with the universe, then that has some pretty profound implications for how we see the world and how we see ourselves.
For one, it gives a scientific basis to one of our deepest and most important feelings. It helps bridge that old gap between science and spirituality. Practically, it also opens up all these new avenues for therapy and design. I mean, imagine creating spaces or sounds that are scientifically tuned to lower stress and inspire awe. It just gives us a whole new lens for appreciating the world around us. And here's maybe the most startling idea of all. It suggests that when you stand in a forest or listen to a beautiful chant, and you feel a sense of something divine, something greater, that feeling may not just be all in your head. It might be a genuine, direct perception of the universe's deep, repeating structure. So, I'll leave you with this thought to chew on. The next time you find yourself captivated by the pattern on a leaf, or the sound of the ocean, or the beauty of a grand cathedral, just ask yourself, are you just seeing a pretty pattern, or are you feeling a resonance between your own mind and the deep, sacred structure of reality itself?